Today, I'm going to share with you one of our favorite recipes, which is brown butter and bourbon cookies. And so in doing this, I have to brown the butter and then let it cool for an hour and a half. So let's get started. You want to take 3 sticks of unsalted butter and put it in your pan. And I'm going to go ahead and like that. And you want it over about medium heat. And I like to cut it up a little bit just because it helps to melt a little faster. And unfortunately, I only have 2 unsalted butters, so we're gonna do 1 with salt, and it's okay. I've done it both ways before and they come out fine. I just think it's better if you have the unsalted with the other ingredients. So browning butter is a little bit tricky too, because you need to not turn your back on it, and you have to have a lot of patience for this recipe. And if you know anything about me, I'm not really a patient person, but since my family really likes this recipe, I try to be as patient as I can. All right. I'm not going to talk a whole lot during this process until we get maybe a little bit more into it, and probably not even then. I might just do some little banners over so that you can see it. We'll time lapse it because it does take a little while for the butter to brown. But with brown butter, you'll know too if you burn it. It has a really kind of distinct nutty smell to it when it starts to brown. So you know if you did it right or not. But you want to continuously stir. You can let it sit for a second or two, but you need to try to keep stirring it. Swirl occasionally. Until the butter snaps and crackles. Now I'm already going to tell you I probably did this wrong because I just read the instructions. It's been a while since I made it. You're supposed to start out on low, and then when it's melted, increase it to medium. I just started out on medium. It'll still work out. Alright. Now you see it's starting to pop and crack just a little bit on the edges. And once it does that, it'll start foaming. And you want to start stirring it really good. This is where it's going to start browning, so you need to be really paying attention and careful. You do not want to burn the butter. 3 sticks is a lot of butter to burn. As you can see, it's starting to get a different color to it. And it will get that dark color when it's brown. Don't like my wooden spoon. I'm missing part of it. You can tell I made this recipe a time or two and burned it. Alright. And this is nutty brown butter. It still looks kind of yellow, so don't be afraid of that. It's okay. You can see around the edges that it is a little bit darker. And you can see when you stir it. And when you smell that smell, you just want to stop, because if you keep going, you're going to have burned brown butter, and you don't want that at all. Okay, I've taken the heat off of that, and we're going to set that aside for an hour and a half and let that cool. It's really important to make sure that you let it cool the entire hour and a half, so that it's ready for the recipe when you get the rest of the ingredients together. So I'll see you back in an hour and a half. Hey everybody, welcome back. We have browned our butter and we let it cool. And the funny thing is Michael likes to keep the house so cold that it started to solidify a little bit, but that's all right. We just needed to soften. So we're gonna put it right into our mixer. And then, so that is our 3 sticks of butter that was browned. And now we're going to add in the 1 3/4 cup of, it called for light brown sugar, and I put in dark brown sugar. And then 1/2 cup of regular sugar, granulated sugar. And we're gonna put it in here, and I've already mixed those together. We're gonna just throw it in here. And then we will turn that on and combine it. Once we get this combined, we're going to add in the eggs. Now we're going to add the eggs one at a time. And you're going to add 2 1/2 large eggs. You say 1/2. Yes, just the yolk of the 3rd one. So we'll add this one in real quick. All right, and then we're gonna add this next one in. And I just have the 3 eggs in there, so when we're done, we'll go ahead and get rid of this carton. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and come over here and just get the yolk out. Normally I save the egg white, but I'm not going to do that today. All right, we're just going to add that 1 egg yolk. And then next we're going to add in the bourbon, which is 3 tablespoons of bourbon, or more should you choose. And the vanilla, which is 2 tablespoons of vanilla, or more if you choose. We're going to add that in. Once you've got all that mixed, you're going to have in a separate bowl 4 cups of flour. And then you're going to add in your cornstarch and your baking soda and your salt. And so I've put all of those into here. And that would be 2 teaspoons of cornstarch, 1 1/2 teaspoons of baking soda, and 3/4 teaspoons of salt. And of course I'm going to have the whole recipe down below so that you will have all the ingredients. Let's see, we got a little bit in there. I'm sure we get that out. Okay. And then just quickly kind of stir that in a little bit. We're going to add this in now. Very slow. We add in just a little bit at a time. And usually this is the step that I make the most mess. I do have one of those rings that you put around it, but I never use it. I mean, if you can't make a mess, it's no fun, right? This is probably where the least amount of patience I have comes into play. I'm like ready to dump all the flour in there, mix it up, and be done. But I did sift my flour. I think it's a good idea to sift your flour if you can. Important to do that. Gets all the lumps out. Helps to make a lighter, fluffier cookie. I hope some of the other cooking shows and channels that I watch that do cooking videos will enjoy this one. Maybe they'll give me some tips and pointers on how to do this a little bit more efficiently. All right, you can hear it starting to get a little bit more thicker as it combines with the flour. All right, and then what we want to do is we're going to drop this down just a little bit and take that off. We're going to get all this batter off here. We're gonna take this off here, and we're gonna add in 2½ cups of chocolate chips. I happen to have the mini ones on hand, so we're using minis, but the recipe even says that you can use big chocolate chip chunks if you want to. You could cut them up and add them in, or use a combination of them. You could add nuts to this if you wanted to, but since Michael doesn't like nuts, and the original recipe never called for it, I never added them in, but you certainly could. And I like to add this part a little bit more by hand. I think it just sort of gets it in there a little bit better. And then you can also say that it was handmade, made with love. Now, the other thing about this is that they say to chill this overnight because that really lets the bourbon get in there. But truthfully, I'm kind of a stinker about it. I don't have enough patience for overnight, so we just make it. But if you have patience and you want to chill it overnight, you certainly can do so. And I have made, like, doubled this recipe and then, you know, put some away and made some. And so it both ways works well, so you don't have to wait and chill it. I'm not a connoisseur, so I didn't see that there was any flavor difference, but they do say it is. So it's kind of up to you if you like to chill your cookie dough, or if you want to, if you're impatient like me and you just want to get it in there. So, all right, we've got that mixed up, and you want to preheat your oven, which I've done, to 350, and then you're going to get a cookie pan, and let's see, I like my ice cream scoop to put my cookies on it. So they don't spread out crazy, so you can, you know, I usually put about 9 on here. I'm just saying, this smells good. I am surprised that Michael hasn't come in here to, like, sneak the cookie dough. He likes for me to put it in the refrigerator overnight, because if I did, it wouldn't be there tomorrow. I like to make cookies. He likes to eat the dough. All right. We have our cookies on our pan. We're going to put them in the oven, and they go in for 10 to 15, I believe, 10 to 12 minutes. 10 to 12 minutes. And we will check that. I use a convection oven at home, so sometimes it's a little bit less, but I have found that 10 minutes is good even with the convection. So we're going to slide in for 10 minutes, and I'll see you when they're done. I got my figment on, and we're going to get the cookies out of the oven. All right. Look at that. They look good. Now we're going to come over here and set them on this cooling rack long enough for them to settle and kind of harden just a little bit, so that I can move them without them breaking. So we'll wait about 2 minutes to move them. So while we're waiting for the cookies to cool just a little bit, I'm going to tell you about this bourbon. It is Elaborate and Graham Woodford Reserve Distillers Select. That was our choice of bourbon because that's what we had in our house. Okay, we're going to take the cookies off. It's been 2 minutes, and we're going to set them over here so that they can cool completely. As you can tell, it's very easy to get them off. They stay together. Now, if you want to, you can flatten these cookies, and that way they're not round and like how I have them. But I kind of like the rounded look to them. All right, now comes the last part, and that is the taste test. They are still very warm, but that's okay. We'll just break them apart. Yep, they're really good. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up and a comment. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. And that way you'll know every time that we put up a new video. Thanks so much.